Alright guys, TJHaLy here again today with a very interesting topic for you guys which I think you guys will enjoy, and maybe of course as always leave your thoughts in the comment section below because that is really the main topic of this one. I don't really want to give too much of an opinion myself. I think it's a difficult one to really get a grip on, but I'm sure you guys will have your thoughts in the comment section below and they'll probably be better refined than mine are. So let's hop into that today. I wanted to talk about, in case you haven't already guessed from the title and what's under my face cam right now, banned boxes and the idea that some PS4s and some controllers and some setups are worse than others across the stage, and how that affects gameplay and whether that has affected matches in the past, whether it is a legitimate thing, whether it's a placebo effect that some pros are experiencing, or whether there is actually some truth behind it, and maybe what even we can do about that going forward. So yeah, that's the topic of today's video. Like if you guys enjoy, subscribe if you are new as always. And just before we begin, I wanted to bring this news to you guys. Louis CM, you guys may be aware of if you follow the European scene at all. He was the partner, he was the LAN teammate of Dylan Codd the first time he played at LAN at CDBL Birmingham 2018. So yeah, Dylan, I mean, this is an image of Dylan Codd, Louis CM here playing with Traudy, and I forget the name of the fourth. But yeah, so he's going to be retiring, as we talked about Daryl yesterday, I believe. You know, looking for opportunities in analyst work and the like. And this kind of leads on to what I want to talk about in tomorrow's video, which is going to be talking about breakout players and Dylan Codd himself. So let's move onwards here. This is a tweet from Adam Killer Sloss back in 2016 that I found up. We know that Killer has been a guy to always bring to light these kind of conspiracies. He's talked in the past, whether joking or not, that different color Ethernet cables, you know, a blue rather than a yellow, may be responsible for some of the issues. With Killer, it's tough to tell whether he's joking or whether he's being serious. There's a famous clip that he effectively says like he had a blue cable with the rest of his team and the other team had like a pink cable or something. I forget exactly the colors.
Wow, bro, I'm looking at the back of the Ethernet cables. Mine is gray and my whole team's is blue. Yeah.
Why?
And I'm looking at the other teams and they got a whole different color. Their shit's like teal.
Wait, what am I taking?
What's... Like, wow.
Camo and Heatwave.
Can I get a professional LAN setup?
But, you know, Killer has brought to light some of these conspiracies over the past few years, and here he says, back in 2016, you know, I'm guessing MLG set up the event because I was lagging on LAN, can't believe this. Now, I'm pretty sure for a very long time, people have been talking about how some PS4s, some setups, aren't as good as others. Some people have bad boxes, I think was the phrase that people talked about. Of course, back in that event I was just talking about, CDBL Birmingham 2018, we had the eArmor monitors that came into play. People were calling it fake COD, if you guys remember that, because, you know, the eArmor monitors, supposedly they were 1 millisecond, but they had some sort of other delay that made it strange to play on. I was actually refereeing, I believe, that first match that Louis CM and Dylan Codd played. I'm not sure if it's exactly this one, but Dylan had me his controller to play on the setup, and well, it was a strange situation. But I don't think that was to do with the PS4s. That was to do with the monitors, but there was some input delay going on there, which could also be the fault of something called a Cronus, which is what I'm not sure if they still use it actually. I've heard different things here, but I know that last year they used to use a thing called a Cronus, which is because the PS4 controllers connect, even when you plug them in as a wire to the PS4, they still connect to Bluetooth. The wire is only to charge. So therefore MLG introduced, there was some really big issues with PS4s, like people's phones, in the fans behind people's phones. It was, you know, it making issues with the controllers and meaning that they couldn't play. They were getting things called slow turn, which is where your character like turns slower than it should do, and it just feels strange to play on. So, to stop this, in an ideal world, they use something called a Cronus Max, which allows an actual wired connection. But supposedly, some Cronuses are better than others, and I think maybe even right now, I'm not sure if you guys are aware of this, so let me know if you are. They may use something else instead of a Cronus, but effectively it has the same effect, which supposedly also, some may be better than others. And I remember a lot at Birmingham when I was refereeing, people would say, well, their controller's messing up here. I'd give them a new Cronus Max, and it would kind of solve the issues. So whether there's a scale between a Cronus which is good and one that's bad, and whether there's a scale there, is something that we can potentially talk about. But those are just some opening thoughts here, just going all over the place really. So anyway, here we go. This is a post from 1 month ago talking about the left side of the stage at London and again at Anaheim. Now, I do remember MLG Adam Apicella saying probably last year sometime, because a lot of times at events when a team on one side of the stage is winning a lot of series and teams that maybe are expected to do kind of well on the other side of the stage aren't doing so well, there tends to be some talk about how maybe one side of the stage is better, like simply has better equipment, faster response times than the other side of the stage. Now, this obviously is pretty conspiratorial, but when the map count here, as this Spin Duke says, 18-2, 20-3, 41-5, he says total. I'm not sure if that's exactly accurate, but, probably something along those lines. When that comes into play, you start to think about, well, okay, what exactly is the cause of this? Now, this has been talked about for years. I do remember Adam Apicella saying that they do switch out the PS4s overnight, I think, at least on the main stage. So switching things up, and quite often you'll see how one player maybe will have an uncharacteristically bad game, and someone playing on the same station later that day will also have a bad game, but then maybe someone has a really good game. It's tough to say, and it's very easy for our human mind to try and create a story and try and establish some reasoning behind things that may not truly be there. But, this is a post that brings these things to light, and I thought I'd have a look at it. Curve does say to try and discount these kind of things because the higher seed is on the left, and 90% of the time the higher seed is the better team. And, of course, this is a while ago, so I don't remember exactly what teams are on which side of the stage, even though I do remember, I'm pretty sure, when OpTic Gaming were playing Heretics on main stage at London, they were on the right-hand side, and Gen.G were also on the right-hand side when they lost to 100 Thieves. So, I don't know whether it's not like every single team on the left-hand side of the stage won for the entire weekend, but, maybe there's some truth to it. I'd be interested to hear your guys' thoughts in the comment section below. So, as Honey Potter Gang says, the left side of the map was, 100T, OpTic, FaZe, and eUnited. How many maps are they expected to lose, especially when a lot of these teams having very good tournaments? And then we had this from just 7 days ago at CWL Miami, and, Spin Duke here, is that the same guy again? Yeah, it actually is as well. That's kind of funny. So the same guy who posted the thread, he says, how is it 2019 and these pros are still playing on faulty equipment with 1.2 million on the line? And, of course, he's making the assumption that there is faulty equipment at play there, and a lot of the pros did make some complaints. So we'll have a look at that in just a second here, and, this individual says, something tech support should look into. The fact that they didn't was because the event was already in mid-swing, and, I don't know. I'd be interested to hear your thoughts below. So, just to look through some tweets of some pro players that have come out over the last few days after Miami. So, we did look through this one for Maux. This is a different situation exactly to PS4s being bad. The whole bad box thing, which I forget exactly where that phrase came from, but probably a long time ago now. And anyway, so Maux says, guy blue screens halfway across the map with no time to make his the hill. This is the Clayster situation. I thought I'd expand briefly on why the referee handed him a paperclip. Effectively, if there's a fault with tournament equipment, then you can claim a restart, but if it's a fault with your own equipment, you can't, which is why the referee gave Maux a paperclip so that he could, undo the paperclip and use the tiny little end to factory reset the controller. That's what the expectation of the referee was. So yeah, I just thought I'd go through this comment thread very quickly because, yes, okay, it's not exactly related to black boxes. Black boxes, I'm not on air crash investigation. Bad boxes. Let's go on to this next tweet then. So Damon Kamabalo says the following: Cronus messes up your controller more than you ever could. Change my mind. Mine was fine this event, but would still disconnect randomly. COD, ever since we've used these things, I don't really like Xbox controllers, but if there was an option to go back so that we aren't the only esport that uses a third-party device that creates input delay, I'd be down for it. So yeah, this is what Damon says here regarding the Cronus Max, which I guess compared to what he's saying, they must still use. I thought maybe someone said they changed it, but I guess they're still using the Cronus, which is the third-party device he talks about. Adding input delay, which of course is a big issue, and look, if everyone is on the same playing field, to some degree it's okay, because the pros use Cronus Maxes at home when they play regularly, so that slight added input delay that you get with a Cronus Max, they experience the same thing when they're playing on LAN. I think maybe what I'm thinking about with changing the Cronus is that in the open bracket, in the amateur bracket, they use a different thing, which apparently makes the game play and feel very different again. So this is another issue that I just wish we didn't have, and with big name players like Karma talking out about it, we'll have to hope really that next year we get a nicer situation. That's why some people are saying, well, if we move to PC and with controllers added, then maybe that'll be better, but in my opinion that might only be better in making sure that the actual devices, that the consoles or the computers, whatever they're going to use themselves, are more consistent, because that is another question which I don't know if it's easy to answer. And, you know, if you do want to go down this route that TJHaLy does right here, saying, I had a bad box, same thing that Dylan Envoy played and said exactly the same thing. MLG refs rather not wait 5 minutes to treat and serve the players what they expect on to play on, then just try and hurry up the series. So yeah, TJHaLy actually says it. This is only a few days ago. I had a bad box at the event, and you know, I don't know whether at a CSGO event some of the computers can be better than other of the computers. That would, to some degree, be if it's the case where some PS4s are bad and others are better, then it would make sense it's the same at all esports events, would it not? Or because, you know, I think PS4s on the whole, because they're factory, you know, mass produced in the way they are, should be relatively consistent. But maybe you guys have different thoughts to that. General has the same, you know, Diabolic monitor. His monitor was turning off. TJHaLy's Cronus was screwing up. Mayhem's PS4 having constant frame rate and with bad delay. So, you know, if this is truly the case, then this is obviously a big issue. And, you know, this is General's response to Maux' tweet. So I thought we'd have a look at that. And Sky says the following. So this was on the second day of Miami. GG's Heretics won last map. The station I had felt so terrible first series and in the last one. And, you know, Mayhem says the following as well. I don't understand. On the warm-up stations, everything felt good and I was getting gas because I was frying. I went on main and I actually felt like I was playing on a delay. I gotta ask Caesar or Cesar, whatever, probably not Caesar, whose skies that we just looked at. I reset it before we played and after map 2 it was still trash. So these pros, as far as I can guess, are probably not just completely placebo effect making these things up. I would be surprised if everything was the same and it was all true and it was all fake news, but I'd be interested to hear your thoughts down below, because of course if this is an issue and there are certain equipments which are worse or better than others, what the hell can we do about it? What do we expect to get done? And how big of an issue is it actually affecting our game? Because, you know, look, if eUnited in my opinion at Miami were the best team at the tournament, 100 Thieves were clearly the best team at the previous two tournaments. They were the teams that won the event. So it's probably these issues aren't affecting the event at large, but individual matches, which could of course have a huge impact on the outcome of the tournament down the long run, may be getting impacted by some of these technical issues. So, you know, I'd be interested to hear your thoughts down in the comment section below. This is a very interesting topic to me, and I've never really covered it before, but I thought I'd leave it up to you guys to consider to what degree you believe this pretty much a conspiracy has any truth behind it. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like if you did, subscribe if you are new as always. Thank you guys so much for watching as always, and I will see you next time.